A young woman named Erin, whom everyone calls Slim, works as a waitress to make a living. Clients adore Slim for her positivity and easy manner of talking. She wishes she could return to college, yet for now it is not an option. One day the woman serves a table of a charming, handsome man who begins openly flirting with her. She tries to keep her distance while remaining perfectly polite, otherwise there are no tips. Slim's colleague and friend, Ginny, advises her to respond to the flirtation. After all, what does she have to lose? Slim decides that maybe she should give it a try, but her conversation with the handsome customer is interrupted by a man at the neighboring table, who claims he overheard this jerk yesterday betting $200 with his friends that he would get Slim for one night. The woman is grateful to the man for stepping in. Mitch Hiller only says that it would have been wrong for him to stay silent, wishes her luck and leaves. In that moment Slim realizes it must be fate. Soon after, they get married. Slim is absolutely happy. Her husband is a successful businessman. Her father abandoned her when she was 2, her mother passed away, so she always dreamed of a man who would take care of her. And she found such a man in Mitch. What more could any woman wish for? Joe, Slim's ex-boyfriend, attends the wedding as well. Now they are simply friends. He dances with Ginny, who, knowing that Slim does not mind, offers him something casual. Joe, who lives in Seattle and is only passing through Los Angeles, does not object at all. A few months pass. Slim is pregnant. Mitch buys them her dream house. They do not delay the move. It seems nothing could be more perfect. Soon their daughter Gracie is born. Watching her husband gently cradle their little girl, Slim feels she is everything she ever dreamed of. Years go by. She grows uneasy as her husband disappears more and more often, claiming he is working. That evening while he is in the shower, Slim takes his phone and calls back the last number. This is how she learns of her husband's infidelity. Slim's whole world collapses. Mitch swears that the affair means nothing and that it will never happen again. He says nothing is more important to him than family. It is not easy for Slim, yet she decides to give him another chance. However, he does not keep his promise. When Mitch once again returns home late, his wife confronts him. He calmly states that for men cheating is normal, that it is a natural need. Slim in turn shouts that she will not tolerate it again and again. She is not a doormat. Enraged, Mitch slaps her. Yet it does not end there. He knows Slim will not fight back, since women are physically weaker. She cannot believe this is truly happening. The man says that he earns the money, therefore he sets the rules. One must pay for all good things, and this is the price of Slim's wealthy life. Today she is having a bad day, and tomorrow will be a good one. After saying this, Mitch leaves for his mistress. But as soon as Slim picks up her phone, he unexpectedly returns and advises her not to do anything foolish. The next day the woman goes to Mitch's mother, although she promised him she would cancel the visit. When Mrs. Hiller sees the injury on Slim's tear-stained face, she asks what her daughter-in-law has done to bring this on. Realizing she will not find support from Mitch's relatives, Slim turns to Ginny, who upon learning everything, feels shock and disappointment. Slim is not going to tolerate such treatment, yet she does not want to see the father of her child behind bars. Ginny says there are only 2 options, either keep enduring it and maintain the illusion of a good life, or take her daughter and file for divorce. It turns out Mitch picked up Gracie from school that day without telling his wife. Slim is on the verge of panic. For a long time she cannot reach him. When he finally answers, he says he took their daughter to the zoo. Over dinner Mitch mentions that he spoke with his mother and knows Slim was there. He strongly advises his wife to stop this. Mitch is a very determined man. He pursued her, the company, this house. And he is not used to losing. The next day Slim goes to the police and asks an officer what a woman should do if her husband hits her. The officer explains that if there are visible injuries, the man will be arrested with the right to post bail before trial. This does not satisfy Slim. She knows that a restraining order will not stop Mitch. He may pose a danger not only to her but also to their daughter. Realizing that the only way out is to run, Slim waits for the right moment while her husband sleeps. Her closest friends, Ginny, Phil, and Teddy, are waiting in the car outside. Slim has packed her things in advance. She picks up the sleeping Gracie and tiptoes through the house, but Mitch wakes up and begins beating her with brutal force. Ginny, Phil and Teddy break into the house. Mitch points a gun at them. Horrified, Ginny rushes to unconscious Slim lying on the floor, while Phil tries to negotiate with Mitch, threatening to go to the police if he does not immediately allow Slim and Gracie to leave with them. Yet the threat does not work. Mitch smirks and says that in that case the police will find substances in Slim's bag and in her car. But Phil, seizing the moment, picks up Gracie, which forces Mitch to lower the gun. Slim's friends leave with her and her daughter, yet they understand perfectly well that Mitch will not let it end there. Since he certainly knows the addresses of everyone she keeps in touch with, the woman decides to stay at a hotel, but she does not have enough funds on her card. She goes to the bank and learns that her account has been frozen. Apparently Mitch has already taken care of it. Slim has to stay in a cheap motel, but very soon she gets a call from her husband. He has every connection and resource necessary to find her quickly. He knows Ginny is paying for Slim's motel room and threatens that if his wife does not return, someone will get hurt. Slim hurriedly packs her things while Mitch tries to break down the door. She grabs Gracie and escapes through the window. Her husband races after her, but she manages to jump onto the nearest bus. That same evening Phil buys plane tickets to Seattle for Slim and Gracie. Joe gladly agrees to take in his former girlfriend and her daughter. She knows that with him they are safe. However, soon FBI agents arrive at Joe's house with a search warrant. They are here regarding a kidnapping. Ignoring Joe's attempts to clarify the situation, the so-called agents search every corner while Slim and Gracie hide in a secure place. Joe realizes that these people are not from the FBI, Mitch hired them. Yet even under threat of losing his life, Joe continues to deny knowing where Slim and Gracie are. In the end, these men, still sparing his life, leave empty-handed. Slim understands that coming here was a huge mistake because one must not put loved ones at risk, but Joe assures her that it is not a problem for him. At that moment Mitch calls him and says that if Slim is with Joe, those men will return very soon. Or Joe will simply have to live day after day in paranoia, wondering whether the bolts on his will have been loosened, and so on. No matter how Joe tries to dissuade her, Slim takes her daughter and goes to San Francisco, where she seeks out her father, Jupiter, a very wealthy man. He never answered her letters or supported her financially. But Slim has no one else to turn to. Jupiter refuses to help, not believing she is his daughter. All he is willing to give her is $12 for 2 sandwiches. Slim hands him an item that once belonged to him and leaves. She is in despair, not knowing what to do next. In the end, the mother and daughter arrive in Michigan and stay with friends of Phil's. The rich, luxurious life is behind her, yet Slim is ready to work for pennies and live in a tiny room as long as Mitch does not find her. Under the pretext of losing her documents, she has them reissued, but this time under a different last name. One day Slim receives a package from her father. In the letter, Jupiter says that yesterday 3 men threatened to take his life, and this piqued his interest. He has sent Slim money, and if she needs more, he is ready to send it again. Slim cannot believe it. This amount is more than enough to rent a small house. The woman believes she can start a new life here, just her and her daughter. Gracie is already so tired of constant moving. Slim promises that from now on, everything will be alright. Of course the girl misses her father, but Slim strictly forbids her from having any contact with him. Mustering her courage, the woman still calls Mitch's mother. Mrs. Hiller advises her to call Mitch before he does something even more foolish and to give him a chance to talk to Gracie. She decides to compromise, but when the girl nearly reveals something she should not, Slim takes the phone and reminds Mitch, no questions. Then she hands the phone back to her daughter. Believing he is still talking to Slim, he says many harsh things. Gracie becomes very sad. Of course Mitch has connections in the police, and his friend Robbie manages to determine the whereabouts of Slim and Gracie. Incidentally, Robbie is the very man who flirted with Slim at the cafe. It had been a crafty plan from the start. They used to do this often, picking up attractive women and abandoning them after one night. But Robbie never expected things to go this far, that his wealthy friend would marry a simple waitress. If he refuses to cooperate, he risks losing his job, yet Mitch has compromising material on Robbie that would cost him not only his job but much more. Slim lives in constant fear, thinking Mitch may sooner or later show up again. And this time she may not be able to escape. Slim also misses Joe terribly. Without hesitation he comes to visit her. Slim and Gracie meet him at the pier, unaware that Robbie is watching all of them and taking photographs. While Gracie is having fun, Joe asks Slim how she manages here alone, without friends or a phone. She answers that she is holding on. While they talk, Robbie approaches Gracie and offers to show her a trick. Losing sight of her daughter, Slim panics. But by that moment Robbie has already let Gracie go. The woman does not even notice him. Joe stays the night at Slim's. She cannot stop thinking about how her life might have turned out if they had never broken up. On the other hand, in that case she would never have had such a wonderful daughter. Feelings flare between them again with renewed strength, yet they know they cannot cross that line. The next morning Joe leaves. He cannot stay longer because of work. Slim and Gracie are alone once more. At night someone breaks into the house. When the intruder looks into the mirror, Mitch's face is reflected. It turns out to be only Slim's nightmare. She is terribly afraid that the man she once thought perfect will find her. He will stop at nothing to take Gracie and completely destroy Slim's life. She begins to suffer from paranoia, or is it not paranoia at all? In her own home she comes face to face with Mitch, who says that if she agrees to return, everything will be as before. But when Slim tries to break free, he realizes that she will never be with him again and decides that if no one finds the body, the police will be dealing with a hopeless case. Gracie clings to her father's hair, trying to protect her mother. She grabs her daughter, runs out of the house and drives away, having no idea that Robbie is already on their tail. Seeing his face, she realizes with horror that she has seen this man before. Slim slams the gas pedal and throws Robbie off, causing him to crash. Mother and daughter are once again forced to flee. Slim always knew this moment would come sooner or later, and she packed their things in advance. She puts on a wig so that if Mitch or Robbie sees her from afar, they will not recognize her. Gracie is exhausted. The girl no longer even knows what her name is, as they constantly move and change identities. But Slim refuses to give up and turns to a well-known attorney, Jim Toller. She will give him all the money she has left if only he will help. Mr. Toller explains that she should have gone to the police from the start, before everything escalated to this point. Now Mitch has a chance of winning the case and gaining full custody of Gracie. Mr. Toller cannot help. It is already too late. He suggests that the hearing is merely a trap, a way to force Slim to appear at a specific time and place so Mitch can get rid of her once and for all. Slim realizes that the only way out is to overcome her fear and face her husband. She leaves Gracie with Jenny and buys them plane tickets so they can be far away and safe for a while. Then Slim signs up for self-defense training. Mitch is much larger and physically stronger, yet she has 1 month to learn to fight. The woman trains relentlessly every day, preparing for her final confrontation with her husband. She meets with her father, who gives her Mitch's new address. As it turns out, he has sold the house. Slim also asks Jupiter for one more favor, to find a woman who resembles her, to throw Mitch off the trail. And although Jupiter never took part in his daughter's life, now he is willing to help. Slim is no longer afraid. As planned, she throws Mitch's men off the trail and buys a ticket to Los Angeles. At night, the woman sneaks into Mitch's new luxurious house. One more of his lovers is staying over. The man wakes because it seems to him that someone is inside the house. He goes to look around, yet he does not notice Slim hiding. In the morning Mitch's lover leaves, and he immediately calls another woman. He has many women whom he deceives. Mitch is an excellent manipulator, skilled at winning people over. As soon as he leaves for work, Slim comes out of her hiding place. But the man suddenly returns because he has forgotten something. She hides behind the kitchen table, yet Mitch notices that the coffee maker is turned off, and this seems suspicious to him, since he usually forgets to turn it off. Slim is on the verge of being caught, but fortunately Mitch is in a hurry, so he activates the security system and leaves. Making sure he will not come back, the woman prepares everything for her confrontation with him. The moment Mitch enters the house, he will fall into a deadly trap set by his wife. She arranges everything so that it will appear Mitch invited her himself to talk and settle things peacefully. The police will find the evidence Slim has planted, and her actions will be viewed as self-defense. The woman also gathers all sharp and metal objects in the house, as well as the weapons, to strip Mitch of any advantage. All of this is to protect her life and her child. He returns late in the evening, unaware of what awaits him. Yet Slim does not try to hide her presence. She keeps out of sight, and Mitch hears only her voice. He intends to get his gun, until he realizes that his wife has hidden every weapon in the house. The man tries to call 911, but Slim has prudently installed a device that blocks the signal inside the house. At last she comes out to him and does not look frightened in the slightest. Slim is no longer weak and can strike him easily. A fierce fight breaks out between them, not for life but for death. Mitch cannot believe that Slim truly intends to take his life. She replies with a smirk that she will do it, and when the police arrive, everything will look like self-defense. She has already taken care of that. Slim strikes him again and again, saying that Mitch is not a man if he cannot overpower her. But when the moment comes for the final, decisive blow, she realizes she cannot do it. In tears Slim calls Jenny, and at that moment Mitch, regaining consciousness, attacks her from behind. Slim remembers all her trainer's instructions and throws Mitch over the railing of the second floor. He crashes onto the lower level and dies. She disposes of all evidence that could point to her. The police arrive and conclude that it was self-defense. Soon Slim is reunited with her daughter. Now all the bad things are behind them. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel not to miss more exciting new products. Also, the authors will be pleased if you leave your opinion in the comments.